Shall we begin?
Football Feast.
Fire away.
Let's go. Let's go, everybody. Let's go. Good morning.
Yes!
Thank you.
Get over it!
It just drives me absolutely batty.
Yeah, but double doink.
The Vikings.
DA and Charch.
Anything is funny?
Thinking of those days gone by now. So music in the air. Life was good then it had meaning.
Here they come on the Friday Football Feast. You know, 9 to noon had a box in the box yesterday, and,
Chisholm gave it away up top. A long shot by DeSimone. Juggled by Gustafson. And they score. Barrett Hayton's second of the game. It comes early in the third. And another one that's not exactly of the high skill highlight reel variety.
Calgary here Saturday as part of Hockey Day Minnesota. Your beloved Howl next play, a Saturday matinee here against Joker. And Parker Fox's Red Hawk Gophers hoops team looks for 3 consecutive Big Ten wins and another upset, hosting 15th ranked Oregon tomorrow. This is the Friday Football Feast, so first.
McNichols to the right of Daniels. 2 tight ends off the right side. Here's the snap. Play action. Daniels keeps looking for room to run. Gets away from one. And another. Dives over the goal line. Touchdown! Touchdown, Washington! Jaden Daniels with the magic act inside the 5. Oh, my goodness, a little weed.
Welcome to the Friday Football Feast. Paul Charchi and Paul Allen, Nordo by our side. Let's tease our 10 segment with some thoughts on a very cool game featuring that guy, Jaden Daniels, and the Philadelphia Eagles. Paul Charchian, we'll begin here. Nordo by our side. Either of you two fancy Washington in a money line upset this weekend, boys?
Why, yes, I do, as a matter of fact. Where the odds are, which last I saw, I have it at plus 225. 225. That feels pretty good, doesn't it? That's, Washington this thing feels like it's way closer to coin flip. I still think Eagles win, but where the value as a better lies is right there. Because if they played this thing 3 times, if they played it 10 times, Eagles win 6. I mean, this thing's in coin flip territory, and I can double my money on one side on Washington. Nordo, you see it differently.
Well, a week ago, I got a little bit of a taste. I didn't, this wasn't mortgage payment territory, but I did take advantage of the plus 350 on the Commanders over the Kitties at Detroit.
Make sure that wasn't the wedding and the next one's the funeral.
That's why I cannot do the plus 225 this time. I do believe that the Commanders are going to spend a fair amount of this game, as we'll dig into more so during the 10. I think the Commanders are going to be chasing. I will be looking more on the prop side. For instance, I can get plus 260 on Jaden Daniels leading all quarterbacks this weekend in passing yards. And so for a team that's going to be chasing, like, that's the kind of direction that I'm going and navigating. I'm all about hail to the Commanders.
Bam.
But I think that the train stops this weekend, sadly, in Philly.
Later in the show, I may give you more plausible props than that.
Okay.
Well, why isn't his prop plausible?
You don't think it's plausible?
Eagles' pass defense is like the best in the league. I mean, this is an uphill move for Jaden Daniels. Not impossible, but it would be difficult.
Chad Greenway, next segment. Alec Lewis at 11:15. And when young Alec with The Athletic joins 9
I offended him so greatly, he lost his voice over there.
It's true.
It's plausible. It's prescient.
My sinuses started draining the moment you said Jaden Daniels most passing yards this weekend.
Nobody has more bodily fluid issues than you do. And
Oh,
the guy,
geez.
I've worked with the guy sitting across from you.
Oh, jeez.
How did PA catch a stray on my phlegm?
That's under.
Can you repeat the part of the stuff where you said all about things?
Yeah, they come. So, Greenway next segment, Alec Lewis around 11:15. And with young Alec, what Vikings topics are burning with you, Mr. Paul Charchian?
I want to get to the probability that Kwesi gets a new deal, but not necessarily a certainty what may lie in the details and whether or not
right?
Kwesi has done enough to get the extension that most people believe he will get. I think the fan base is relatively split on this. If I can use my Twitter as any measure, I think the fan base is kind of 50-50 on sign him now versus let's wait one more year and let him work out the last year of his deal. We can talk through some of the elements of that. Does Aaron Jones return to the Minnesota Vikings? I want to learn more about the Vikings assistant coach, Grant
Udinski,
who to this point we never talk about, and yet he is being interviewed for offensive coordinator jobs.
But alas, we actually did talk about him a fair amount last season in passing when Jaron Hall was going to start the game against the Green Bay Packers. And when Jaron Hall Jaron Hall et al. Are working with certain facets of the coaching staff following Friday practices. Grant Udinski is the one that generally is leading that charge. Of late, it would be with Daniel Jones and Brett Rippon. But Udinski, in low-key fashion, because not a lot of people know about it, he has some right-hand man to him when it comes to KOC, we.
Vikings have 3 major award finalists. Sam Darnold for Comeback Player of the Year, Kevin O'Connell for Coach of the Year, Brian Flores Assistant Coach of the Year.
The Comeback Player of the Year thing's a scam.
It's been a
scam every step of the way because it's the rules were laid out that to win Comeback Player of the Year, you just can't come back from sitting on a bench. It has to be like injury related or something like that. There were actual rules. But the sports books, as Sam Darnold continued to ascend, they continue to take wagers on him as Comeback Player of the Year. And the odds went way down, despite them knowing exactly what the rules were. And then all of a sudden, I guess there's been a shift in the rules.
There's been a late shift in the rules.
Under the cover of darkness, the whole thing's ambiguous and sketchy, quite honestly.
There was a segment this summer, Paul, that you and I did this past summer, where I spent most of a segment talking about the pathway for Sam Darnold to win Comeback Player of the Year. And
I called up them rules.
And then the very end of the segment, you went, well, that's all fine, Polly, but this. And then you read me the rules, which basically said what you said.
And the Riot Act.
It has to be for injury-related comeback player because they didn't like that DeMar Hamlin didn't win the previous year.
Right.
So then fast forward to the middle of December this year, and they've revised the rules saying, well, we think you should give preferential treatment to people coming back from injury, but that shouldn't be the only reason. And now Sam Darnold is in a neck-and-neck race with Joe Burrow.
But my question would be, from what did Sam Darnold come back?
Bad play.
Right, but I mean...
4 years of bad play.
Bad play is subjective. Injuries and missing time due to injuries, that's not subjective. That's concrete.
Yeah, but the word comeback can encompass more than one thing. If you come back from being terrible, that is still a comeback.
Great. Then why did they have the rules clearly stating to win Comeback Player of the Year, you have to check these boxes, and coming back from being a backup in San Francisco because things didn't work out in previous stops, that wasn't one of the qualifiers.
Who ever said comeback player, that the comeback only applies to the previous year? Can't they come back from 4 years of bad play?
Right, but I don't set the rules. There were rules that were laid out for comeback player of the year.
Yes.
And Sam did not qualify.
No, he
now
didn't.
Sam
And now
qualifies.
Now Sam qualifies.
And like I said, the whole thing is sketchy with a side dish of nefarious because those books continued to take those bets on Sam Darnold despite knowing this ain't going to be a thing. He's not going to be eligible.
Well, I think...
But how did the worm turn?
I think there were a lot of bettors who saw this coming that were like, okay, there's not enough injured players for that to hold up.
Right.
I think the betting public went, Sam Darnold's the obvious pick here. I'm betting him anyway, and I'm going to count on the criteria shifting from the AP. The AP is the one they used the AP Comeback Player of the Year for this. And they may end up being right.
I'm really hoping beginning at 10 a.m. you find my proposition wagers to be plausible because now I'm looking at them and I'm liking them quite a bit. And it's not that the plausibility rests with the co-host of the Friday Football Feast, but, into the weekend, thinking about these props, touting them the way we do, not playing them. Why? Nowhere to play. Is you hope people hear something that bites them and they have places to play and they like it and they profit and they win. Well, that's all fun and games until the props are deemed not plausible.
By me.
By you.
Well, look, I'm the arbiter on these things. This is, I cannot bet because I live in Minnesota.
I like how you're going back.
But I put together props every single week.
I like how you're going back to the Samaje Perine well.
Yes, I am.
Are you? I mean, seriously, you're a glutton for punishment up in this thing? My man barely saw the field.
Well, he was on the field for 16 snaps.
That's
they
great.
threw to him one time, and I need him to be on the field a little more here.
Yeah.
Wait until you hear.
What happened when they threw it to him? He dropped it.
It was a incomplete pass. Did you see the one we nearly hit on?
No.
Ty Johnson, final touchdown, plus it was 33-1. Do you remember this? It's the end of the game.
Yeah.
Johnson reels off a 20-yard run, but because all he has to do is slide down inbounds to end the clock after getting a first down. He doesn't try to score the touchdown. He just slides down at the end of a 20-yard run.
Bad beat.
Otherwise, we may have hit a 33-1 prop on this show last week.
Bad beat. You know what? That is that refrain is a common thread lament for the week that I'm having. Whether it was Mitch or Paulie or metaphorical Mitch or Paulie chatting with them recently, they're like, did you see the Wolves minus 3.5 I almost hit at Dallas until Kyrie Irving hit a 35-footer at the buzzer to take a 4 and make it a 1?
Why don't you give me half the money you were going to bet? Then we'll go out back, I'll kick you in the nuts, and we'll call it a day.
You're listening to the Friday Football Feast. It's PA and Charch. Chad Greenway, courtesy of Grey Duck Vodka and Spirits, joins us around the corner. That's part of the Timber Tech What's on Deck set list, which includes the great Courtney Cronin from ESPN and ESPN.com at 11:03 to talk about Ben Johnson, the loquacious and audacious Ben Johnson, new coach of the Chicago Bears. TimberTech, timbertech.com if you're interested in deck investigation. This is a Nordo production, and we say good morning on this chilly Friday in the cornfields. And here comes Nordo with that cash thing.
The Fan wants to give you a chance to put $1,000 in your hand with the National Cash Contest. Just go to KFAN.com and enter the keyword bank. You might bank $1,000 with the keyword bank at KFAN.com.
In.
Football Feast.
Welcome back to Indianapolis for the NFL Scouting Combine, apparently.
Kevin Stefanski, Darrell Bevel, and Mike McDaniel joining later. But first, we welcome Chad Greenway, one of the great defensive players in the history of Minnesota Vikings football and a weekly component on the Friday Football Feast. This is courtesy of Grey Duck Vodka and Spirits. And as we welcome Chad into the conversation. The new partnership with Sky Yuma. We have a new maroon and gold partnership. What is it, and good morning?
And good morning. Well, we've been working with Dinkytown athletes for a while, and the give back has been something we've been very proud of, to work with the community, the Gopher fans, and obviously, as we all know, the NIL and the collectives, all these things are ever changing. So the focus is how can we work with the folks that want to drink our Grey Duck spirits and give that back to the university. So that relationship has been really good. We're working out with the golf team over at the University of Minnesota, which is really cool. So any products you go out and purchase, support. If you are a Gopher fan, this is going to directly benefit your Gopher athletics. And we've doubled down on that. We've got great partners in that. And women's golf, it's been fun to get to know that group and be a part of it. And then obviously look to expand and help Gopher athletics. Hard for a Hawkeye to navigate this world. Let's just be honest. Hey, but listen, it's good. It's about opportunities, about greater good. It's about growing a strong and smart business locally, and always try to give back.
I was going to say you're just unfamiliar with winning, but I can't lord that over Iowa. Unfortunately,
I have 2 Big Ten championship rings I could wear in next weekend if you want. Yeah, I could bring those in. I mean,
those are
show you what they look like.
What do they make those out of? Like
pure gold,
lead,
pure gold. No, it's actually gold, silver, and diamonds.
Is it really?
Mine from Tama, Iowa.
So those teams must have gone to the Rose Bowl and won, right?
What? That's cute. Well, the year that let's get that over with. The year we went to the Orange Bowl. We came in here. We took the goalposts out of the Metrodome, as all brilliant Iowa fans try to do. You take them out of the circle turn, the turnstile doors.
Yeah, it's not easy. Yeah,
didn't math that one out. Can I turn this mic? Can I turn that off? I don't hear that. No.
Washington and Philly. Quick twitch. Your greatest game or memory against the then Washington Redskins. They switched to WFT, I think, in 21.
Yep.
And then became
the Redskins, to be honest.
When you played against said squad, it was the Washington Redskins. Greatest game or greatest memory against said Washingtonians?
I know what you're gonna bring up.
Well, I have an idea. What about you?
What do you think? Maybe quarterback going 87 yards down the left sideline?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. I'm impressed.
It's your moment, your game, and my memory. So you were the one in the game. Thus the question, memorable moment or best game against said Washingtonians?
Best game.
Or fondest memory?
I'm sure there's something I'm missing. I can't remember.
Didn't Kirk go back to? You wouldn't have been there.
I wasn't on that team.
Kirk teams.
No.
Here's my idea.
All right, let me think. Please make it positive.
2010. FedEx.
Suck for luck?
No. 2010. FedEx.
Not that win. Oh.
You beat Washington.
Yep.
And you, Ben Lieber, and a host of others elevate Leslie Frazier to your shoulders, and you'll walk off the field.
First win.
With Leslie.
First win.
And his first victory.
Yes, thank you for reminding me of that.
I mean, another option would be end of the 2007 season, the penultimate final home game, Sunday Night Football, the Washington squad just playing out of its mind the entire year, motivated and guided by the spirit of or the death of Sean Taylor. They rolled in here. Greg Williams was their defensive coordinator and basically said that quarterback, Tavares, well, we know the running back's good. We're going to put 10 by the line of scrimmage. We're going to use this monster named Lorenzo Alexander, and he's going to play all 3 phases. He's going to lead us in special teams tackles. He's going to be our extra offensive lineman, and he's going to be our 4th defensive end. And you ain't going to be able to stop him. And they couldn't. And Washington won that game.
Yeah, he had an amazing, you bring up that name, he had an amazing career where he actually became a high-level pass rusher late in his career where he was a special teams guy. Usually you get special teams guy like your label, your stamp, like that's what you are. Yeah. All of a sudden he becomes a high-level pass rusher, went to the Pro Bowl.
Lorenzo Alexander.
I think for the Bills, though, right?
Potentially.
I think so. That was the Redskins memories are mostly negative. The first thing that come to mind. Quarterback, what's his name? Heisman, Baylor.
Oh,
RG3.
RG3 and the run and the bad ankle. Jamarcus Sanford. No. That was
Sorry, I went there.
That was one of the loudest outdoor stadium crowds I've ever heard in my life.
We haven't blitzed in 4 to 5 games. Let's blitz him on this down and see if he can run 87 for a touchdown.
Okay, let it out. Quick twitch, your greatest game and/or memory against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, immediately think pick six, our sideline 08 playoffs. I think it's the film watcher in me is like you go watch the film after every game. It's like it's always the negative. Coach rarely shows the positive.
Right.
Then I go to in Philly against Vic. They were good. Be 2010 on a Tuesday.
Yes. Oh, that's right.
And they were good. And they were, and this is this has been the talker is the Eagles fans and how awful they are.
Mm-hmm.
And
game on a Tuesday.
Within 8 minutes of the game, we're up and just boo birds against their own team, who was like the 1 seed at the time.
Yes.
It was 17-7 at one point.
And that was the first time I played Vic, and I can remember just thinking, don't become a highlight. Because someday he's going to get hired to be a head coach in college football, and he's going to have a highlight package. Don't find yourself on that one. So I didn't become a highlight. Jamarcus Sanford became a highlight on that one, too, where he got literally jerked off the field, like off the screen. Like, careful. Like when you're on the screen watching film, all of a sudden, like, where'd Jamarcus go?
Yeah. All right. So with Washington and Philly, your quick twitch with that game and what you expect this weekend, what you saw with Washington and the Motor City Kitties, the skeletal remains thereof of the Detroit Lions with all these coaches leaving. Holy cow.
Yep.
And Philadelphia in snowy conditions against the Rams. Have you ever played in unbelievably snowy conditions?
Yes, in Baltimore.
Oh,
the epic Baltimore game.
Epic Baltimore was like 28 points scored in the last 2 minutes.
That 42 in the fourth quarter.
42 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
that game was incredible because I can remember them getting a first down, the very first down of the game, and I looked over at the sticks. I'm like, that's not even within a yard. like that was not a first down, but I'm like, all of a sudden they're hurry up, they're on the ball because they knew it was a bad call, and we're not going to go review this, and all of a sudden it's first down, away they go, and I'm like, this is wild. But that was a game that ended negatively for us. But we got a sense of that crowd. The quick twitch on Jaden Daniels has been...
Well, hold on quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because we discussed bad beats in the open.
Yep.
Down memory lane we go.
I think I've shared this with you before. That game he's referencing from Baltimore, like the over-under in the game, let's say it was like 48-49, but then the Sharps playing the weather game, with an anticipation of wind and, I don't remember it vividly, but it was like snow could be an extreme amount. Well, the Sharps got involved and smashed that thing down to like 44, 45.
41 and a half.
Okay, so
I'm
then
looking at it right now.
It started at like 46 and a half. It went down 5 points. All right. Well, I'm talking about watching Kyrie Irving the other night. Wolves are winning by 4. Pretty much have done enough to win and cover. Kyrie from 35, bam. Dallas walks off with the back door, but they don't get the money in the W column. We discussed the comeback player of the year and potentially what a bad beat would be for somebody who stayed away from it because they actually had rules posted about how you can win this, and then they changed them.
He says bitterly.
At the end of the third quarter of that game at Baltimore, there were 13 points scored.
That's right.
10 or 13.
Yeah, 13 at the end of 3.
So you're under 41 and a half, 42. And you've seen the game, and nobody can throw, nobody can move, everybody's slipping except Toby Gerhardt. And then all of a sudden, 42 points erupts in the fourth quarter, and you just get smashed.
Well, even beyond that, it's not just the fourth quarter. With 2 minutes and 5 seconds left in the game, the score was 12-7.
Unbelievable.
12-7.
What year was that?
This was 13.
So you still need 3 touchdowns in that 2 minutes and change to get it over that number.
Yes. And then you lose by a lot.
This game for Las Vegas had to be what's known as Stupor's Paradise, because of how many people must have gone. I'm pulling my tickets and crumpled up their over ticket, threw it away, and you got stupors going through trash cans. Look at this gross stuff. Got some yucky raisins here and a half-eaten hot dog there. Hey, I found an over somebody threw away. Yeah, that was bad beat territory.
The final 2:05 of the game was a Dennis Pitta 1-yard pass
on
touchdown.
Greenway.
On Greenway.
What? No.
Wrong. Then a Toby Gerhardt 41-yard touchdown run. I forgot about that.
Scamper.
Greenway, up, back, full back, key block.
Should have.
Then the kickoff after the Toby Gerhardt.
To the crib.
Oh, Jacoby Jones?
Jacoby Jones, 77-yard kickoff return.
Yep. Greenway on kick coverage, slipped.
No, then we're going to go slip screen to the right.
That's right.
With
Cordero Patterson, 79 yards.
Yeah, started on the right, went to the middle, to the left.
That might have been first down. That was the first play of the drive, I think. Maybe we ran it to no.
There should have there was a little time that went off the clock, so I don't think it was quite the next play. At that point, Vikings are leading 26-22 with 45 seconds left.
The over is dead. The over's dead.
He's trying to hold on to that money line.
The over's dead. They can't win with a field goal. They have to get a touchdown.
Come on.
Marlon Brown, 9-yard pass from Joe Flacco.
Marlon Brown tight end, back left of the end zone on Greenway.
Now, there was I think I had a PI in that drive. That was a nasty drive of refs helped them along the way, a la Buffalo 4th and 20 bit.
Trying to keep up with
Kyle
Todd
Orton,
Heap.
though. That wouldn't have been Todd Heap, though.
I don't know.
No, I can't remember who would that have been.
It's Pitta and Brown.
Yeah, it was Pitta back then.
Pitta
was their main.
Which was great. I just thought about this. Is Dallas Clark, former Colt, my college teammate, was on that roster, but not active in that game.
Oh,
wow.
For injury or something?
I remember just having that moment with him after, because he was a nobody walk-on at Iowa, and I was a one scholarship guy. We go there, and he has a crazy career in the Ring of Honor at Indy now, and I remember seeing him after on the field after the game was just one of those vivid things you'll never forget.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you were in. They don't say who was in on coverage on the touchdowns and the big gains.
We were in cover two. I remember for sure. I know we were in cover two.
They just say tackled by
Audie Cole.
Audie
57
Cole.
though.
It was back of the end zone over Audie. I'm pretty sure, and Audie was in a great spot. It was an NFL play. I mean, It's a good throw and catch and in conditions. And sometimes you're in the perfect spot and the ball whistles by your head. And you're like, I'm not sure how he did that. Thank you again, Aaron Rodgers, for that one. That's fun.
You single-handedly tackled Dennis Pitta 5 times in this game.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a pick, sideline pick. I mean, Greenway had a day.
You did not have a pick in this game.
I had a pick, right sideline.
I love how you do that.
Off Flacco. Greenway had a day.
If I'm Audie Cole on the Marlon Brown game winner, and I got the grandkids on my knees, I'm like, I slipped.
Yeah.
Make them find the video.
100%.
Make them get to the YouTube machine and find the old Al.
You did have a pick and a tackle for loss in that game.
I mean, come on. Was it Sunday? Yeah, it was Sunday.
You had a pick. Known for that.
So, division game in the NFC Championship game. So, familiarity will reign supreme here. And I like, I like Washington to cover, and I would side it a little bit with Washington to win the game. And that, what would go into that would be looking back at the game they played at Philly. And Jaden Daniels at that time was at a point of the season where he was starting to struggle a little bit. And God bless the young man. He pushed through it with flying colors, clearly off what we saw last game. But Jaden was a little wonky at that time. Washington was getting a little goofy at that time. And it was a very close game into the fourth quarter. I think, in fact, Washington may have been winning by a point or 3 points or something. So I think they can play with them. What do you think?
I mean, I'm giving the nod to the Commanders right now. I think it's momentum. It's a momentum time of the season. Find me a player who's playing better than that guy right now. Saquon's going to be a problem. Mm-hmm. Weather conditions are going to be a problem.
That is a guy. You found a guy who's playing as well as he is.
Yeah, Saquon is playing as well as he is. There's no question about that.
It can absolutely be argued Saquon Barkley is the 2024 National Football League MVP.
I agree.
I have no problem.
But they're so hell bent on giving it to quarterbacks.
It's always that way. Think about Heisman. Think about, there's what he's doing in this era of the NFL, which is now, we just talked about last week, is flipping back to run first in some ways. Mm-hmm. it could be in 3 years we're calling the running backs' names more regular than the quarterbacks' names.
We're back in the 70s, man, with the running and the throwing to the tight ends.
It's unbelievable. Where's Hayden Fry when you need him?
Mm-hmm.
This draft class is I've draft experts like my guy Thor Nystrom. They're saying there are 30 draftable running backs this year. 30 won't get drafted because there's not enough teams that need running back, but there are 30 guys who grade out as draftable, and this is going to be the greatest running back draft in the history of the NFL draft.
We got Jonty, obviously, from Boise. Caleb Johnson, Iowa. I think we're probably the top two. Maybe one more guy in there, top three.
Your Hawkeye sweet.
He's
just sweet. He's just like, you want to run between the tackles?
I got you.
Beef up your guards, and beef up your interior and go power run vertical pass. That's your guy.
Yeah. I like what he's done in college. I like his body type for the NFL. He's nice, and it's just interesting to see how we talked about it again this last week is how the college game eventually ends up changing the NFL game because of the people and personnel coming into the league. Now all of a sudden with all these RPO actions that are coming in, and you have the receivers and these guys that can get on the edge and make throws like Jaden Daniels and Jalen Hurts, which I think is going to be the talker of the weekend, in my opinion, is Jalen Hurts' health. Will determine the outcome of this game, because how many times in playoff big wins can he extend plays, make those plays, get the first down on a 3rd and 6 when things breaks down, it's man coverage, backs are turned, he goes and gets it.
Right.
Daniels is going to be making those plays if he's healthy and remains healthy. Can Jalen get out of the pocket and make those same plays? Or when you only rely upon Saquon, are we going to have a bit like the Redskins back in the day say we're going to commit 9 or 10 and say beat us another way?
But don't you think when it's a division game, okay, so the familiarity, despite, Dan Quinn's staff being new, but still they played him twice, it's the tendencies, the talkers, the tells, and the takes, that has to be more second nature than if you're playing the Rams.
No question.
Or if you hook the Arizona Cardinals in this spot. So, when it comes to going down that road, like how close can you get to knowing exactly what play is coming at that part of the field, that down in distance with all those tendencies?
And I think it comes down now more, obviously execution, right? Because on any given play you draw up offensively, if you know what defense they're in, you can block it up. That's why you called it. So it comes down to coaching decisions. It comes down to plays. It comes down to a feel, because you're going to know tendency wise what they're going to do, or within a small amount of plays what they're going to bring. Now, who's making the tweak? Who's making the adjustment? Who has a counter off the play they ran previously to give them a look and kind of give them some window dressing and do something else? It's going to be a fascinating game. Divisional games at this level, it's going to be a battle. I hope it's as good as it's supposed to be.
I think we talked about this last week, maybe not. Do you believe in the old adage, it's, the third, hard to beat a team 3 times, although they split in the regular season, but is there anything special about the third meeting between teams in 1 year?
I think if you go 1-1 and split, that old adage is a little bit thrown out the window, right? Because you beat a team twice, and even if it's comfortably or tight, you kind of in the back of your mind think like, we've done this before, we can do it again. So maybe you have a little bit less of a thought that we need to push as hard as we can. NFC Championship game, everybody's playing all out. Yeah, that thought process really goes out the window, right? We're not talking about some third tier game here. They're going to be prepared. But it's going to come down to execution. Look at the Ravens game last week against the Bills. It's execution with one of the best players in the game at his position right now, and he drops a pass that I would say was harder than people are trying to talk about it. That was a hard catch, but he makes that catch 99 out of 100 times, and it's execution. So we can talk about this game all we want, but it's going to come down to the moment, the play, the game. When the ball's in the air, can that guy make the catch, make the play? Obviously, ball security is going to be massive, especially on the Commanders side, to keep that momentum and the fans out of the game.
Buffalo at Kansas City, same bit. Quick twitch, most vivid memory or standout game versus we'll begin with the Buffalo Bills.
I know what you're going to bring up, so maybe we're going to talk about the 4th and 20 bit.
Want to move these Chiefs?
We literally had to I became like the talking point.
Again. I'll look for it. It ain't there. I know. You're better at that than me, but I can't find it.
No, I sent an email to the internet and I said, "Hey, can you remove this real quick? Thank you. Appreciate that." Internet talker coming up.
Dear internet.
Well, if you want to wait around 20 minutes, I can reacquire.
When it comes to Vikings Bills, you missed the 2018 Al. Vikings favored by 16.5, and
Allen out of the shotgun, facing a blitz. Josh steps up, plenty of room to run. Leaps over a Viking to the 45. Gets a first down. Excellent acrobatic effort by the rookie from Wyoming. He leapt over Anthony Barr. Could have been an 8-yard gain, not enough. He made it 11. He gets Buffalo a first down.
It's the game.
Rookie Josh Allen, too, right? 2018.
Yeah. Game that changed his entire career was here with Minnesota. He had done nothing but struggle. He had looked very inconsistent. And then they unleashed him on the ground. They're like, maybe we have something special here.
Playmaker with his feet, no question about it.
He got one to the pylon in that game, too, I think.
Yeah. 2018, I can't remember what this is, but it's labeled Kirk to wide open Thielen. Incomplete.
Minnesota 0 of 2 on third down. Cousins out of the shotgun. Blitz is picked up. Pats the ball, fires left. Incomplete. He overthrew Thielen by 8 yards. What's wrong? This is unbelievable. And now, the crowd.
You hear him?
Minnesota 0 of 2 on third down. Cousins out of the shotgun. Blitz is picked up. Pats the ball, fires left. Incomplete. He overthrew Thielen by 8 yards.
Here
What's
comes.
happening here?
There he is.
This is unbelievable. And now Matt Wiles into punt. Thielen was wide open.
Jeez, that 2018 game against your Bills.
Funny. Our own fan base was booing Kirk. I can't say I'm surprised.
And they were all blaming you, by the way.
No doubt.
And under their breath.
What?
You managed to lose to Kyle Orton one year.
Yeah. Or slinging Purdue, Boilermaker, Southeast Polk High School, Des Moines area.
Scott Chandler.
Scott Chandler, teammate, college
Wasn't that
teammate.
It was Sammy Watkins in the clutch near side to the left, right?
Yep. 1000%.
What about,
nice call. 1 second left.
What about the Kansas City Chiefs? Vivid memories, best games, etc.
Couple things come to mind. Kelly Holcomb at their place 07. Fun. That was really fun. Jared Allen had 1 million sacks.
Jared's
first game back.
Yeah, Jared had been suspended 2 or 3 games. Might have been a PED.
The felon comes walking back onto the field.
Right. And it was so strange because the chatter before the game was specifically with McKinney. Be patient. He's going to come out here with his hair on fire. Hasn't played X amount of months. He's going to get tired. And he got better as the game got longer and was just running around Big Mac.
Yeah, first time obviously we would practice against the Chiefs, so I saw this thing that was Jared Allen, and before I had to play with him for a bunch of years, and to see the energy he came out with, the look in his eye, he was not going to be denied in that game, and he was going to remind everybody in the Chiefs fans and the NFL just how good he was. Then we get him, a year later. And
one of the great trades in the history of the franchise.
100%. He came in just exactly what you expected, just a wild man. And I talk about him all the time as a guy, if you wanted to find a football player with grit, toughness, persistence, the guy that just would never quit, that's Jared. And that's what'll put him in the Hall of Fame soon, hopefully this year.
07 would be what was there another?
The 2015. The play that comes to mind
2015
is a play that nobody will remember.
College Stadium.
Is back when you could crack back. They had this heathen tight end. It might have been in that 07 game.
Yeah.
They hit me so hard in the sternum.
Who was it?
I don't remember. Look him up. I think it was 07
Chiefs. Okay,
tight end. Just one of those muscle heads. Just an absolute guy that just lived in the weight room. And he hit me so hard. I was laying. I thought I was going to pass away in Arrowhead on the field in front of 75,000. And I couldn't catch my breath. Wind got knocked out of me at a severe level. And I thought, this is where it ends. And
people joke about the wind getting knocked out of you. When it happens to you, it's awful.
I was dying on the football field, and it was horrible. And I'll just never forget that because he hit me so clean, so hard, decleater, the whole thing. It was
not Tony Gonzalez.
No, he didn't hit anybody.
Jason Dunn.
Yeah.
That's who it was.
Had to be.
He's the only other tight end I'm showing on roster.
Unless it was later on when we played him there again.
No, he was 6'6", 280.
Yeah.
He was a beef eater.
Absolutely ridiculous. And I just never forget that play. Picked off Alex Smith in the preseason. Remember that against the Chiefs?
Yep.
Trying to think anything else that happened.
Yeah, 2015, you did beat him. You didn't register a stat in the 2015
I was
game,
out.
Chad.
I was out, injury.
Ooh.
2009, the Favre year. Okay.
Yes.
Preseason, third preseason game. Ones are going to play. Gunther Cunningham was the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs. Brett Favre had arrived I mean, 2.5 days before this game, Chili's going to play him. Gunther was specifically with middle linebacker Kavika Pittman. It's the only time I've ever seen a series of what's known as zero blitzes in a preseason game. Because old Gunther was like this. Well, this is cute and everything, and you guys are probably going to be really good. And this is a preseason game.
Watch this.
There ain't no way are we going to accept you thinking it's that easy having this guy come off the turnip wagon 48 hours ago and he's going to play a full quarter or a full half and just get up and down the field on us?
Man.
Watch this. Kavika Pittman put one of the hardest hits on Brett Favre in that game that I can recall.
Which is now an illegal hit, most likely.
Maybe. Yeah, I think he got him good. That's Chad Greenway. This is the Friday Football Feast. Chad's appearance is courtesy of Grey Duck Vodka and Grey Duck Spirits. We will localize it and discuss the Minnesota Vikings offseason with Chad around the corner on KFAN. The Las Vegas Raiders have a new leader and one who is hoping to not walk the plank. Pete Carroll is the new coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. Looking at a Shefty tweet here. Pete Carroll and the Raiders now have reached agreement on a 3-year deal with a 4th-year team option, sources tell ESPN. Another veteran legendary coach has returned. It is Pete Carroll to the Las Vegas Raiders, so unless yours truly is missing something here, and that's quite possible. The opens remaining are the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Dallas Cowboys.
They closed up as well.
Who's coaching the Jags?
Liam Cohen went back to them.
And he took it?
So he took it because they fired their general manager. So he says, no, I won't take it. They fired the general manager, and then 12 hours later, he's like, oh, well, now I will take it.
Well, did you hear the bit, too? Wow. The Bucs spent 36 hours trying to get in touch with Cohen, and he wasn't answering their calls because he had already gone to Jacksonville to handle business and become a head coach. So the Bucs are sour now.
Can you imagine?
Well, the Bucs just made him the highest paid coordinator in the history of the league. So you'd think he would stay.
Yeah.
Nope. It only lasted, he was under contract for 18 hours.
Yeah, that coordinating of that offense did a wonderful job against that Lions defense in the wild card round.
I always love that one.
But can you imagine the testicular fortitude or the guts it takes to leave Malcolm Glazer on red?
I always love that one.
Seriously, you got members of the Glazer family trying to find you for 30-some-odd hours, like the con said, and you purposely put your messages on red. Honey, I just left Malcolm Glazer on red.
Big time.
Love that one.
Yeah, I mean, just the audacity. That'll be a fun talker in mid-season next year.
Dallas and New Orleans? Is that it?
I believe that's it.
And Dallas, it's last night they were saying Dallas, which has become a place nobody wants to go anymore. Mm-hmm. Jerry Jones is viewed as borderline incompetent and an egomaniacal tyrant with his team, and people don't want to be in that situation. And so the coaches do not want to go there. It looks like they're going to dust off Brian Schottenheimer to be their head coach.
Well, again, that's the whole thing we were talking about earlier this week, PA, where if you're a young and upcoming coach, like you're Liam Cohen and whatever this Trent Baalke situation was with the GM, it sounds like he's not the most beloved guy in the league either. But the idea that if you're a young and upcoming coach, you want to be in that environment where the owner is going to go on the flagship radio station and absolutely just destroy you after every loss, and you feel kind of like you are indeed the puppet and Jerry's got the strings. You don't want to go into that environment. So it is the Mike McCarthy's of the world. It is going to be the Schottenheimer type bit. If you're young and upcoming, you want to go to a different organization where you feel like you might actually be supported to have a chance.
And if you're not young and upcoming, let's say you're 73 years old, you go to the Raiders.
Yeah, I always love that one.
I caught a rumor earlier this week.
He's a young 73.
He is a young 73.
It's all the gum that he chews.
and the rumor was from somebody that I respect, and it was not like, hey, go with this on Twitter. No, I was just chatting football with somebody who is not from here but is in the game, And they presented an idea to me that made a lot of sense. And I don't know if they had steam or whatever, but it didn't come to fruition. It involved Pete Carroll and the Dallas Cowboys. And I liked it because, like, Jerry Jones thinks Jason Witten is going to be an elite head coach one day. Okay. But we just don't want to put him in there. So the rumor that I caught was they were going to hire Pete Carroll, preferably on a 2-year deal, and have Witten be the associate head coach and whatever, and kind of raise him from within. So, I mean, for this individual to tell me this indicates in league circles he had heard that, and maybe it's the short-term nature of the deal where Pete's kind of like, I mean, if I'm going to deal with this general manager owner ripping me on the radio, I need 4 years out of it all guaranteed. Yeah. So maybe something changed, but that's what I heard earlier this week.
Yeah, I think that when you look at that Cowboys job, I mean, you nailed it, right? When you're a young guy, there's two things you look at. I want an opportunity to be a head coach.
Yeah.
And that's life-changing money. That's life-changing opportunity. Do I want to go take that with a bad organization? Mm-hmm. That's an all-the-time loser? Do I want to go take that with an overbearing owner? Do I want to go take that with an owner who is going to give me some control and let me be creative and let me be this young, energetic coach? The reason you're hiring me. So if you are truly in that position, you have options. You're not going to take the Cowboys job. You're just not. Now, maybe you grew up a massive Cowboy fan. Maybe you grew up in this situation where I want to go show everybody how good I am, and I'm going to go make them winners. And because I think those guys exist out there as well, to be like, I'm going to go show Jerry, I'm going to go show and go in the crosshairs of that thing. But if they're going down the Schottenheimer route, exactly how you laid that out is exactly right. And it wouldn't surprise me if they're going to go Schottenheimer on a couple-year deal and bring Witten underneath him. That would not shock me at all.
That wouldn't shock me either. You're better off if you're going to go. It's almost better to go to a loser franchise and roll the dice that you're going to be the one that brings it to competency or better, like Tony Dungy.
That is the Cowboys, by the way.
Or Dan Campbell.
Loser franchise.
But the problem is, they won the NFC East last year.
Yeah.
And expectations for them are always high. If you go to the Panthers and you turn them around, now you're viewed as a special coach with special traits.
Yeah.
If
I'm Canales, I ask for a pay bump right now because of the second half of the season. I just want a 3% pay bump to let me know that, Mr. Tepper, that you're watching, because it got a lot better over the final month and a half, because that sucker could fall. With that owner, that sucker could fall off anytime.
Yeah, who knows? He's one of those owners you'd be wary of for sure.
I think with the Cowboys job, though, you look at what you're dealing with from the quarterback position and that roster. You have to think when you come into that position, like it's getting, when we talked about Stefanski going to the Browns, he went to an organization that wasn't looked highly upon, not a great job.
Yep.
But his
quarterback was Baker, the wild card.
Yeah, his point was this, and he did it for several reasons. He earned the right. He worked his way up. He had success. All those things are all kind of negligible but it's a life-changing financial opportunity. Whereas if he never wanted to coach again, he's walking away and could do whatever he wanted with his family and have that success and freedom to make decisions. That's not how head coaches work, though. They're not going to be like, I'm going to go play, coach for 4 years, 5 years, and then I'm out.
Retire. No, nobody ever does that.
They coach until they're 80, like Pete Carroll, right? When they love it and they got to have it. And so I think when you think about taking that job at the Cowboys, this is almost like a death sentence. That's why I thought McCarthy was the perfect hire. Because you take McCarthy is, I mean, he's long tenured. He's had success. He's won the Super Bowl. He's been in Green Bay. He's been under the scrutiny of being one of the most high profile organizations.
And Mike is a smart offensive mind, whether it's 2024 or 2014.
With Aaron Rodgers makes you look real smart. With Brett Favre makes you look real smart.
That's a very fair point.
So to my point is if you have a guy like Mike McCarthy who is as well tenured, and he gave him a long leash, he gave him some years to figure it out, never got it done. The reality is if you're in the Cowboys and you're Jerry Jones, you're going to be let go. And if you're a young coach, now all of a sudden you get pushed back to what? OC, maybe you're whatever, you're some offensive special assistant, associate head coach. And then how long does it take for you to get back up? Because you have to win and have success to get your name put back on the platter to be a head coach again.
Yeah.
So like that first decision, first opportunity really is important.
Now, the Cowboys job, the other X factor to me with the Cowboys job and taking it is Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
So they are locked into Dak. They just re-upped him. He signed through 2028.
Right.
So, that could be a long 3 years with a quarterback who is indisputably good, but doesn't seem to be, people always said this about Kirk, doesn't seem to be somebody that is
Over
going to
the
take
hump.
you to the next level, at least not single-handedly.
Yep.
And you have to decide, okay, our cap hit, his cap hit is $337 million.
Goodness.
From just, last year and then the next 4. It's insane. And that affects your whole roster construction and everything else.
Remind me of that Cowboys team last year, the one the NFC East. Was that a really good Cowboy defense? Wasn't their defense?
Micah Parsons was
they were high
rolling.
level.
Yeah.
It was same movie, same ending, different actors.
Right.
Good, win a division, hang 12 wins, sell hope to your fan base, get busted in the first playoff game. We are your 2025 Dallas Cowboys.
By the way, and Vikings.
Who are you talking about?
Right. I mean, this is what everybody says about us.
Yes. No question. I think so. It comes down to quarterbacks at the end of the day. You're going to be measured by that success of winning playoff games. Mm-hmm. That's just what it comes down to. So if you're going to walk into a coaching position, you look at that, you're going to eat this massive contract in a quarterback that you're going to have to work with. Most likely you're going to bring in potentially an offensive mind to work with Dak and that massive contract to make him successful. Well, okay, if you're an offensive mind, you come in, it's like you want to be able to pick your toys you're playing with.
Yeah.
But guess what? In Cowboys land, you don't get to do that.
Right.
You were dealing with somebody else's toys, and you just got to go in there and work with them. It's a whole different mindset rather than come in and say, I'm going to pick the toys in the toy box and play with them. Right? Here's the quarterback I want. I want this quarterback can do these things because this is how my scheme works the best.
Yeah.
You don't get that option in Dallas.
My friend, we will see you next week if you happen to be around, and have a joyous weekend. Thank you for the conversation.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
It's Chad Greenway.
That's what this team is all about, defense and working hard.
Each and every Friday, 9 to noon, courtesy of Grey Duck Vodka and Grey Duck Spirits. We're going to go to handicapping around the corner, offering us some touts and some proposition wagers and stuff like that. We'll begin with Washington and Philadelphia, and the deep dive is